And welcome everyone this morning. Thanks for taking the time out to join us today. As Matt said, I'm Representative Terry Bryant. I live in Murfreesboro and I represent the 115th District in the House. We're joined today also by Representatives Marin, Representative Meyer, Representative Stevens, and I want to thank them for joining us as well. On Saturday, May the 16th, I submitted a letter to the governor asking for answers to several questions concerning a possible massive data breach. That was involving personal information of tens of thousands of Illinoisans on the Illinois Department of Employment Security's PUA web portal. To refresh your memory, 2 Fridays ago, May 15th, I received a panicked phone call from a constituent that lives in the northern part of my district. While trying to file for unemployment benefits under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or the PUA program, the constituent came across a web page on the IDES website that contained the personal information of thousands of people that had applied for unemployment. Upon learning of this potential security issue, I immediately notified 2 members of the governor's staff and high-ranking staff members of the Republican caucus of the problem. It's our understanding that the acting director of IDES
The recording has stopped.
Reached out to my constituent directly later that evening. I spoke with my constituent again, and she could not recreate the issues she had experienced before. I believed at that time that the issue had been resolved. I was a little disturbed that I had not heard back from the governor's office after I was the one that alerted them to the potential issue. After not hearing back from the administration as to what had happened, I sent a letter to the governor and the acting director of IDES the next day. I did receive a reply from a staff member of the governor that said they were aware of and working to fix the problem. Now, keep in mind that I went to bed that night thinking that the problem had been fixed, and there we were on Saturday morning, and a real determination had not been made as to whether the problem was actually fixed or if they were still working on it. At that point, I'd been aware of the potential data breach for about 30 hours, and I felt like I couldn't wait any longer. So I released the letter that I'd sent to the governor, to the media, and the result has been the administration has since admitted that a data breach occurred involving more than 32,000 Illinoisans. I have been very disappointed with the attitude the governor has had during his daily press briefings on the breach and the failures at IDES overall. To hear it from the governor, you'd think everything's okay, everything's working just fine, and that IDES has fixed the data breach and that it was very limited, a one-time thing and no big deal. Well, it actually turns out that it is a big deal to the people that have been waiting months to file for unemployment, only to find out that their state government not only failed to get them the assistance that they desperately need, but that that the very identity may have been compromised by the very same failed system. So fast forward, if you would, for a few days later, and I start reading news reports that Deloitte was given no bid contracts of upwards of $22 million to operate the system and maintain the unemployment assistance website. That was a failure from day one, and now is the source of a data breach. These are unacceptable failures. To that end, we called this press conference today because we want to find out what the heck is going on at IDES. So we're calling on the Auditor General to arrange for a full audit of IDES. The 4 of us are filing a House resolution stating that fact and to talk more about the failures at IDES and the need for an independent audit. To that end, I'm gonna also throw it over to Representative Mike Marin now as well.
Thank you, Terry. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Mike Marin. I represent the 104th District, which are parts of Vermilion and Champaign counties. For over 2 months, the IDES system has been failing to catch up on the backlog of laid off employees and business owners seeking relief from the governor's shutdown. The General Assembly needs answers to why this failure is not getting fixed. Our constituents that we help every day are hurting and cannot understand why the administration can't get this problem fixed. They deserve to know why IDES cannot deliver the needed relief in a timely manner. Many of the business owners I talk to every day were successful because they had a get it done at all costs attitude. When a job needed to be done, they did whatever it took to see the job through to the finish. Now that they need help and relief after voluntarily closing their businesses to comply with the governor's executive order, they are extremely frustrated that the governor hasn't committed the same effort to make the system work. There are roughly 1 million, if not more, recently unemployed Illinoisans that I'm sure would love to have the opportunity to bring in an income for a couple weeks and help the governor solve this problem by working part-time to get the backlog at IDES under control. Our leaders have a responsibility to see to it that the IDES system works and that the benefits that were promised to the people who now have no income because of one man's decisions are available. The resources and manpower exist to fix this problem. Only the desire to get the job done is lacking. This is unacceptable. Members of the General Assembly from both parties are ready and willing to come to the table with solutions to help remedy the situation. We want to be part of the solution. Unfortunately, before we propose solid solutions, we need to know why the system is failing. The IDES failure is shocking, and the governor has repeatedly refused to come to the table and have an honest conversation about why the system is failing. An honest assessment of the situation and the department's shortcomings is the key to getting this unacceptable situation under control. Regrettably, the governor is not willing to engage the General Assembly, or even to this point acknowledge that there is a problem. That is why we are asking for a full audit of IDES. If the governor will not take responsibility to fix this mess, then we will. Regardless of the volume of people and the challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor should admit his department has failed and commit the resources to get this problem fixed. Anything short of this is an abject failure and a disgrace to our citizens. If he will not act, then we as a legislature will do the job for him. We ask for an extensive audit of the IDES system now. Now I'd like to turn it over to my friend, Representative Charlie Meyer.
Good morning. I'm Representative Charlie Meyer from Oakville. I represent the 108th District, which includes part of Clinton, Madison, St. Clair, and Washington counties. When Governor Pritzker's stay-at-home order took effect in March, he forced 1 million Illinois residents out of work indefinitely. Before Pritzker chose to put people out of work, he should have made sure the agency he oversees, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, was ready to handle every unemployment claim promptly and securely. I still have constituents contact me because they are waiting to receive their unemployment check. I see no sense of urgency from the governor to have these claims processed faster. I want to know why it took the state a month longer than other states to implement the new employment claim system and why unemployment claims are still not being paid. Not only are people still waiting to receive their unemployment check, but the IDES enrollment website failed to protect applicants' private information, which is why I will be co-sponsoring a resolution along with Rep. Bryant to audit IDES to determine the whole inefficiency of the state agency. We want to know what went wrong and what IDES is doing to ensure this never happens again. We want to know how secure information was exposed, how many people viewed the private information about each applicant, and the accurate number of applicants affected by the data breach. I am also very concerned with the process of awarding a no-bid contract with Deloitte. This contract should have been put out for bid. We want to know the facts, the truth about the failures at IDES with Deloitte, as oftentimes what a state agency says does not accurately reflect what happened. This audit will provide us with an accurate account of what went wrong, why, and how to fix it. Illinois may have entered phase 3 of Governor Pritzker's Restore Illinois plan. However, his plan still forces many Illinoisans out of work indefinitely. And oh, by the way, since the governor put these people out of work, they can't afford to buy anything because they haven't received a check for 11 weeks. Now I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Representative Brad Stevens.
Thanks, Charlie. My name is Brad Stevens, and I represent the 20th District, which contains the northwest side of Chicago and the immediate surrounding suburbs. If you're not familiar with the district, it's been hit disproportionately hard by the pandemic. We're adjacent to O'Hare Airport, along with numerous convention facilities, entertainment centers, hotels, restaurants, and bars. So basically, servicing through the hospitality industry. According to the Illinois Restaurant Association, more than half of all restaurant and hospitality workers have been laid off. The governor's stay-at-home orders essentially shut down the economy in my district. Employees, most of whom have never gone on unemployment before, willingly obliged because they and their families would be safer at home until the curve bent. These employees and employers complied with the stay-at-home order. They kept their end of the bargain by staying at home because they knew the health and safety of their families and loved ones were at stake. What's unfathomable is that it has been about 10 weeks since the governor started to implement the stay-at-home order, and the governor has not kept up his end of the bargain. The ineffective intake system at IDES continues to delay benefits for those who are in desperate need of financial assistance. Several thousands of families have played by the rules and are depending on the unemployment system and still haven't received benefits. How are they supposed to put food on the table when the IDES website continues to crash? Folks are still unable to call into the automated phone system, and now some offices are closed. Customer service is getting worse, not better. We're coming up on the first month, and the people of Illinois have bills to pay. They have to pay their rent and mortgages. A couple of weeks ago, when PUA became available online, Governor Pritzker confidentially assured reporters that everything at confidentally assured reporters that everything at IDES would be ready to go live and claims would begin to process faster. Unsurprisingly, IDES was not ready. Claimants are continuing to experience technical difficulties due to no fault of their own. What was surprising was the horrific amount of personal identifying information, or PII, that was open for nefarious actors to potentially steal people's identities. I want to thank my colleague, Terry Bryant, for uncovering this horrific mistake by IDES. The federal government passed and signed the stimulus package into law on March 27th, a full 2 months ago. The funding is available, but this is not a budgetary matter. It's an incompetency issue. I fully understand the enormous, unprecedented challenges the governor is facing. However, I do not understand why he has repeatedly refused our offers to help him address the IDES issues and continues to go it alone. The governor's All In Illinois campaign kicked off on April 2nd, 8 weeks ago, and he claimed we're all in this together. But again, he's going it alone. We in the House Republican caucus are ready and willing to help and continue to extend an olive branch to him. We're getting to work on passing a resolution to force an independent audit of IDES so that we can identify problems and work to solve them.